these folks that can, this margin of folks who can be persuaded one way or the other at this point, what do they want?
Well, listen, we're in a really red state, right? President Trump won Indiana by 20 points, nearly 20 points back in 2016. If you look at Senator Donnelly's campaign ads, besides his last one that he's airing right now, which is the come together piece, right, that we typically see at the very end. So you have that dynamic playing of a Democrat, a moderate Democrat, really trying to win re-election in a red state.
Asked about that before boarding Marine One earlier today, and he basically was asked, hey, will you compromise with Nancy Pelosi if Democrats have the House? He said yes, but Republicans are much more confident tonight in being able to hold on to the Senate, and that is why the president is here. That is why he will be here again on Monday.
We are watching the U.S. Senate results come in this evening. Still too close to call for many major outlets across the country. Mike Braun with a sizable lead tonight, 54-42, with about 50% of the votes coming in. We've been talking all evening that Mike Braun needed to build this lead early in these heavily Republican counties before Northwest Indiana came in terms of Lake County, to see what Marion County did to bring down that lead. The Donnelly camp is now looking at those returns to see if that will impact them or help them at all. We can call a number of races, a number of key congressional races. The Associated Press within the last couple of minutes has just called the race in the 9th District in the southern part of the state for Representative Trey Hollingsworth to serve his second term in Congress. He was going up against Liz Watson, who received a lot of national Democratic money and also a lot of star power in terms of Bernie Sanders. Chris is joining us from the Indy Star. We're casual here. He's coming on up. Are you all hooked up? Can we hear you? You hold it? Yeah, we're good. We're good. Let's talk about this U.S. Senate race. Still too early for a lot of projections across the country. We want to talk about social media, right? This is a huge factor in what we're seeing in terms of the conversation as these results come in. Let's bring in Andrew Clark, Facebook editor for the Indy Star. Are people engaged tonight? What are we hearing online?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the caveat being that I'm watching right now as we're waiting for Mike Braun to show up at his party as well. So we'll interrupt you again if that happens. But yeah,
please do, Bob. Please
what you guys
do
were
at
talking
any
about.
point. Thank you. The technical issues have been resolved. I've given Bob the permission to interrupt at any point throughout the evening. We were talking about the president's effect, right? I mean, and the question was, okay, so the president's supporters turn out to the rallies. Do they go and vote for Mike Braun when the president is not on the ballot? And that's the question across the country, right? It's the midterm. Clearly, we're seeing that play out, at least in some effect. We haven't seen the full total of votes or who voted, but that has to have some impact.
Oh, it definitely did. I mean,
at that point, from the numbers we're seeing right now, Donnelly is going to have to start to pick up some of those gains, right? Because ideally, that's when we're going to see some of Northwest Indiana, some of those results coming in.
Absolutely, and that's key for him, that area which closed later.
Let's talk about Judge Kavanaugh for a second. That was several weeks ago, and Senator Donnelly's decision. We've seen some exit polling tonight that shows that may have had an impact on voters as they went to the polls. Was that a lingering effect for some people, Donnelly's decision?
I think it was. We have a lot of evangelical voters in Indiana.
That goes to tone a little bit, the national tone, and Mike Braun hit on that a little bit in his speech tonight. When we look at the House projected to now be controlled by Democrats, the Senate controlled by Republicans, A, where does Mike Braun fit into this? And B, what does this do to our national discourse in terms of politics?
Well, unfortunately, I'm sad to say, I think we're going to have another contentious 2 years between now and the 2020 election.